Every morning, millions of people in Dhaka step into chaos. Traffic that barely moves, buses packed beyond limits, and commutes that feel like endurance tests. Yet the city never stops. This is Bangladesh, where getting to work becomes a daily survival strategy. Welcome to the most extreme daily commutes on Earth. The floating shortcut. Across the buriganga in Dhaka, the Buriganga River isn't scenery, it's an escape hatch. When roads lock up, small wooden boats become a daily commute system. Short crossings, low fares, constant departures, and a rhythm that feels like a river version of a bus stop. One recent feature described a 10-taka crossing, where boat queues line up like a terminal, except it's ropes, planks, and the smell of a working river instead of concrete and signs. The extreme part isn't just the boat, it's what surrounds it. You're threading between launches, barges, and a shoreline that feels permanently in motion. For commuters, the river is time saved. Sometimes the difference between being late and being fired. But it's also exposure. Weather swings, rough water, and the reality that thousands depend on small craft every day because the road network can't breathe. This is Bangladesh's commute in miniature. Improvised, crowded, and shockingly efficient, until it isn't. Rickshaw City, the last mile maze. Dhaka's daily commute often begins the same way. A rickshaw ride that feels like threading a needle through a moving wall. The twist is that nobody can even agree on the true number of rickshaws. Official counts exist for licensed vehicles. But reporting emphasizes how the city's rickshaw reality goes beyond neat statistics. One Dhaka Tribune report cites roughly 52,000 registered rickshaws under Dhaka South and about 28,000 licensed under Dhaka North, while also stressing the broader uncertainty around total numbers on the streets. For commuters, that uncertainty is the point. The rickshaw network expands to match demand. When buses are packed and cars are stuck, rickshaws become the flexible last mile that keeps the whole city moving. Slowly. It's extreme because it's constant friction. Narrow gaps, sudden stops, horn language, and intersections that operate more like negotiation than rules. And yet, for millions, this is the most reliable slice of the commute, because it can still move when everything else becomes a parking lot. The crush of the city bus. Bangladesh's bus commute can look like a physics problem. Too many bodies, too little space, and not enough minutes in the day. In Dhaka's peak hours, buses become mobile crowds. Standing room vanishes, aisles become human chains, and the ride turns into balance, patience, and survival instincts. Academic research on Dhaka commuting describes daily congestion and overcrowded public transport as a routine experience, not an exception. What makes this commute extreme isn't just discomfort, it's unpredictability. The same route can take wildly different times depending on gridlock, rain, or a single blockage. You'll see commuters clutching rails, leaning with each brake, and making micro decisions every second. When to board, where to stand, how to protect a bag, how to breathe in a packed vehicle. It's a daily endurance test for workers who can't choose different hours because their jobs don't allow it. In Bangladesh, the bus isn't just transport. It's proof that the city's workforce will get there, even if the ride feels impossible. The Dhaka-Narayanganj commuter train, squeeze. If roads are chaotic, trains should be relief, until you see the Dhaka-Narayanganj line at rush hour. This is one of the country's most commuter-heavy corridors, and reporting has described daily crowding as a persistent problem. One news report cited about 1.4 lakh, 140,000, commuters using the Dhaka-Narayanganj route each day, with passengers describing intense overcrowding. More recent coverage and research still point to capacity strain and service limits. More people need rail than the system can comfortably carry. The extreme part is how the commute reshapes behavior. Boarding becomes a sprint, doors become contested territory, and the ride begins before you even step inside, because getting inside is the battle. For many workers, this train is the only realistic option that's faster than sitting in road traffic for hours. So the risk becomes normalized, and once a risk becomes routine, the commute stops being a trip and starts being a daily gamble. Tangi's festival-scale rail crowds, even when it's not a festival. Near Dhaka, Tangi is infamous for moments when the rail system looks like it's carrying an entire city at once. During major gatherings, photos show trains overwhelmed by human volume. People clinging to sides and filling every possible surface, pushed by sheer necessity and a shortage of alternatives. Even outside those peak events, the commuter pressure in Greater Dhaka creates a similar logic. If you don't board now, you might not get to work on time at all. The commute becomes a clock-based survival strategy. Arrive early, fight for space, repeat tomorrow. This is extreme commuting as a crowd phenomenon. Not one person making a risky choice, but thousands making the same choice because the system leaves them no comfortable option. The train becomes a moving deadline. And in a city region where jobs, education, and services concentrate, movement isn't optional, it's the cost of having a future. Tangi represents what happens when demand spikes beyond design. The commute doesn't break. It mutates into something the engineers never planned for, but commuters still rely on. The industrial belt commute, Savar and Ashulia pressure, cooker. On the edges of Dhaka, places like Savar and Ashulia power huge parts of the economy, especially garment and factory work. That also means mass commuting at the same hours along limited corridors, where one disruption can turn a normal trip into a day-long ordeal. Reports from the Ashulia area describe severe jams that can strand thousands when roads are blocked or overwhelmed. For workers, this commute is extreme because time is already scarce. Long shifts and low flexibility collide with transport that can suddenly collapse. When a route locks, you don't just arrive late. You may lose wages, face penalties, or risk the job entirely. Add heat, rain, and packed vehicles, and the commute becomes a second shift before the first one even begins. This is where Bangladesh's commute story becomes structural. Jobs are concentrated in zones, housing spreads outward, and the link between them is often a single pressured artery. Every morning, that artery carries a city's worth of livelihoods, and every evening it releases them back into the same bottleneck. Sadarghat, the river terminal that runs like a city. Sadarghat isn't just a dock, it's a daily machine. It's Dhaka's major river gateway where launches and smaller craft connect the capital to huge stretches of the country. Even with changing travel patterns, reporting still describes dozens of departures a day. Around 60 to 65 launches leaving daily to different destinations, according to Dhaka Tribune coverage. What makes it extreme as a commute is the scale and intensity. Crowds, cargo, tight boarding windows, and the constant choreography of people moving with bags, work schedules, and family obligations. And while long-distance travel is part of it, Sadarghat also functions like a daily connector for workers who live and operate along the river network. There's also the pressure of transition. When demand drops or routes change, commuters don't disappear. They reroute, often into already congested roads. Studies of launch passenger trends show how major infrastructure shifts can reshape who uses the river and when. At Sadarghat, Bangladesh's commute becomes a moving port city, rebuilt every morning, dismantled every night. The no-road commute. Boats, mud, and monsoon. Timing in parts of Bangladesh, commuting isn't about traffic lights, it's about geography. River islands, floodplains, and waterlogged routes can turn a short distance into a complex daily mission. When roads vanish under monsoon water or become mud paths, small boats and improvised crossings become the commute. That same logic, water as a faster route than roads, shows up even inside Dhaka, where river crossings stay popular because the alternative is hours of gridlock. The extreme part is the dependency on conditions: rain levels, current strength, boat availability, and daylight. Schedules become seasonal. A worker's on time can depend on whether the river is calm enough to cross safely or whether the landing spot is accessible. This commute is often invisible in global conversations because it doesn't look like a subway map. But it's daily life for communities where movement means adapting constantly, using whatever floats, whatever rolls, whatever exists. In Bangladesh, the commute can be a negotiation with the environment itself, and the environment doesn't care what time your shift starts. Dhaka gridlock, when rush hour lasts all day. Now we reach the commute that defines Bangladesh's urban extreme. Dhaka traffic. One analysis notes that Dhaka's average vehicle speed fell dramatically, down to about 4.8 kilometers per hour in 2022, compared with around 21 kilometers per hour in 2007. That's the speed of a fast walk, except you're trapped in a metal box breathing exhaust. The commute becomes extreme because it steals life, not just time. Research on Dhaka commuters highlights how heavy congestion is routine, affecting daily travel and well-being. And reporting on Dhaka's street environment emphasizes how hostile movement can be for pedestrians too, meaning even walking it isn't a simple solution. In Dhaka, you plan your day around traffic like it's weather. You leave absurdly early, you carry snacks, you accept that a short trip might become hours. The scariest part isn't a single dangerous moment. It's the slow grind that becomes normal. And when millions accept that as normal, the city's commute becomes a permanent background pressure. The most dangerous commute: riding the roof of a train. This is the commute that looks like a movie stunt, except it's real. In Bangladesh, images and videos repeatedly show people riding on the roof or clinging to the outside of trains when demand overwhelms capacity. Photos from major peak moments capture people packed on top and hanging from edges, driven by shortage and urgency. Why would anyone do this for a commute? Because missing the train can mean missing work, losing pay, or failing a responsibility that can't be postponed. It's extreme because every normal safety layer is gone. Wind, overhead hazards, sudden braking, and the simple risk of slipping in a crowd that can't give you space. And here's the darkest twist. Once enough people do it, it becomes culturally known. A desperate option everyone recognizes. Not because it's accepted, but because it's predictable. This is the worst commute on the list because it turns transportation into exposure, where the commute itself is the most dangerous part of the day. In Bangladesh, the roof ride isn't about thrill. It's about the necessity of wearing the mask of chaos. What you've just seen in Bangladesh is only part of the story. Just across the border, daily life pushes the limits in ways most of the world can't imagine. From routines that look impossible to systems that somehow still work. Click on Indian daily life facts that shock the world and see how ordinary moments become unbelievable realities. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and keep learning as we explore the strange side of our world with Oddly Abroad.